What's up, you guys? Steve here with your stimulus check and stimulus package update. And yesterday I let you guys know that it looks like you're going to be getting a $1,400 stimulus check. The unemployed are going to be getting a $400 per week boost. And the $1.9 trillion stimulus package is going to get pushed through, as yesterday we saw President Joe Biden meet with Republicans and said, that's nice. That's a nice counteroffer. We're going to go with the $1.9 trillion. So in today's video, we're actually going to be hearing from Bernie Sanders. Now, as you guys know, Bernie Sanders has been in office. He's been in office for quite some time, and now he's sitting in a position of power, and he is letting us know, as he's doing interviews almost every single day, that he's not afraid to impose his will on Congress, and he's letting us know that reconciliation is going to be the path forward, regardless of whether Republicans get on board or not. So you guys, we're going to be covering some of the headlines that came out with this breaking news that the $1.9 trillion stimulus package is going to be going through with or without Republican support, meaning $1,400 checks, federal unemployment boost of $400 per week out till September, and all the other provisions that are included as well. So we're going to dive right in. I'm going to get you caught up on the latest from Bernie Sanders and the path forward. But before we do, if you could do me a quick favor, it'll just take a second. If you guys like and appreciate these video updates, if you could just take a second to smash the like button, I would appreciate it. It helps out the channel. Like button, leaving your comments, and sharing these videos out to anybody that you think might need to see them. It helps out the channel. Thank you so much. And also, if you're not already a part of the Ram fam, why don't you go ahead and smash the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that way as soon as I upload videos, you can get notified right away. And if you don't already, be sure to follow me on Instagram as well at SteveRam3. I do my best to respond to as many questions here on YouTube as I can, but I don't get to them all, so Instagram is also a great way to reach me as well. But now let's go ahead and dive into the latest that's unfolding regarding the way forward with stimulus checks, unemployment, and the next stimulus package through reconciliation. So let's go ahead and dive right in. As yesterday I let you guys know, we started seeing headlines rolling out that said Senate Democrats take the first step to pass Biden's $1.9 trillion stimulus package on their own as the administration stands by it. And we saw that motion of reconciliation pass 50-49. We also saw Biden tells Democrats that the pandemic relief plan from Republicans is way too small. That $618 billion counteroffer, he said, that's nice, but we're going to go with the $1.9 trillion that I proposed. And McConnell said Democrats are now choosing the partisan path. And we saw Biden is now on board as Democrats prepare to Steve Ram stimulus through Congress and Schumer. Now, we're going to go ahead and take a look at what Bernie Sanders had to say. He actually went in the Senate and had a lot to say. Now, I'm just going to warn you guys, this is a 10-minute video, but if you stick with it, he addresses all the different provisions in there, and he also talks about the path forward with reconciliation. So let's go ahead and dive in and take a look at what Bernie Sanders had to say.
Mr. President, let us be clear and let us in the Senate understand what the American people know all too well. And that is that our country is currently experiencing the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression and the worst public health emergency in over 100 years. Over half of our people are living paycheck to paycheck, including millions of essential workers who put their lives on the line each and every day. The wealthiest people in America are becoming much wealthier, and income and wealth inequality, a long-time problem, is now soaring. Incredibly, while families throughout the country are struggling to put food on the table to feed their kids, during this pandemic, 660 billionaires, not a whole lot of people, have increased their wealth by over $1 trillion. The budget resolution we are debating today is simple and it is straightforward. It will enable us to pass President Biden's $1.9 trillion emergency COVID relief plan through reconciliation with 51 votes instead of 60. Now, Mr. President, I have heard from some of my Republican colleagues who tell us that, well, this reconciliation concept, that's a radical idea. Why are you using reconciliation? And they're telling us that it is absolutely imperative that we go forward in a bipartisan way and require 60 votes for passage. But I must say that when Republicans used this same reconciliation process, Mr. President, I didn't hear much about bipartisanship at that point. In fact, Republicans used the reconciliation process to provide trillions of dollars in tax breaks to the top 1% and large profitable corporations by a simple majority vote. My Republican colleagues pushed through their nominee for the Supreme Court with 50 votes. A few weeks before the election, not one Democrat supported that nominee. Totally partisan vote. Well, as the incoming chair of the Senate Budget Committee, this is what I believe. If Republicans can use reconciliation to help the wealthy and the powerful and pass legislation strongly opposed by the American people, we can and must use reconciliation to help Americans recover from the worst economic and public health crisis in the modern history of our country. In other words, now is the time for this Congress to stand with the working class and the middle class of this country and do what the overwhelming majority of the American people want us to do. Mr. President, it is worth pointing out that poll after poll shows an overwhelming majority of Americans, over 70%, support what President Biden and what we are trying to do. They know we have got to act boldly. So I hope we will not hear much more about bipartisanship, given my Republican colleagues' record on that issue. The people who go to work every day, who keep our country going, who put their lives on the line during this pandemic, and they look at us and they say, does anybody there in Washington, all you rich guys, do you understand what's going on in our lives? Well, this week during this debate, we are not only going to begin addressing the health and economic and educational crises we face, but maybe even more importantly, we're going to begin the process of restoring faith in the United States government. Maybe, just maybe, we can do what Abraham Lincoln talked about in the midst of the terrible Civil War, and that is be a government, act like a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, and not just powerful special interests and their lobbyists. What will this budget resolution mean for the average American? I know we're throwing out a lot of numbers, 1.9 trillion, a lot of money. What does it actually mean? How is it going to impact the lives of ordinary people? So let me just say a few words on that. Everybody is concerned about the pandemic, which has taken so many lives and caused so much illness and suffering. What this legislation is about is an effort to aggressively crush the pandemic and enable the American people to return to their jobs and schools by providing the funding necessary to establish a national emergency program to produce the quantity of vaccines that we need. We need to increase vaccine production, and equally important, we need to significantly improve the distribution of vaccines so that we get them into the arms of people as quickly as we can. What this legislation means is that during this severe economic downturn, we must make sure that every American, low-income people, working-class people, middle-class people, have the financial resources that they need to live with dignity. This budget resolution will allow us to keep the promises that we made to the American people and increase the $600 in direct payments for working-class adults and their kids up to $2,000, another $1,400. And Mr. President, I want you just to think, whether it's Connecticut or Vermont or South Carolina or any place else, you think that during this terrible crisis, what it will mean to an average family to suddenly get a check for $5,600 for a family of four on top of the $600 per person that they received a few weeks ago. Think about what that will mean to people who are losing hope right now. Mr. President, as I just mentioned, the overwhelming majority of the American people have told us very loudly and clearly that the $600 direct payment that Congress passed in December was a good start, but is not enough. In this bill, we're going to increase that $600 by another $1,400. We cannot continue to allow workers in America to work at jobs that pay them a starvation wage. In the United States of America, jobs should lift you out of poverty, not keep you in it. So let us be clear. When we increase that minimum wage to $15 an hour, not only will we be providing a much-needed raise for tens of millions of American workers, we will also, by the way, save taxpayers many billions of dollars each and every year. Moreover, Mr. President, this pandemic has caused tens of millions of American workers to lose their jobs through no fault of their own. For 45 consecutive weeks, unemployment claims have been higher than during the worst week of the Great Recession in 2008. This budget resolution that we are considering now will provide the funding necessary to provide 18 million Americans with $400 a week in supplemental unemployment benefits until the end of September. So if you are watching this, you're watching TV now because you're unemployed when you'd rather be at work, understand that this bill will extend unemployment $400 on top of the normal unemployment your state provides till the end of September. We have not forgotten the unemployed. Further, Mr. President, all of us know that we have a child care crisis in America. It was severe before the pandemic. It is even worse now. This budget resolution would begin to provide the resources necessary to provide child care to 875,000 children in America. And it would expand the child tax credit from $2,000 to $3,000 and $3,600 for kids under the age of 6. In other words, we hear what working families are going through, especially those who are struggling and have children. This will be a major, major step forward in improving lives and easing anxiety for young couples with kids. This budget resolution that we are debating will provide the funding for rent relief, utility assistance, and mortgage relief to millions of tenants and homeowners who are in danger of eviction or foreclosure. And it also, Mr. President, deals with the shame of homelessness in America. Today, in the midst of the dead of winter, we cannot have hundreds of thousands of Americans sleeping in homeless shelters, in their cars, or out on the streets. And right here, walking distance from this Capitol, there are tents located in parks where Americans are sleeping in the middle of the winter.
So there you guys have it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. As we heard from Bernie Sanders, he covered all the provisions, the stimulus checks, the unemployment, the child care tax credit, the minimum wage, and also rental assistance. And he went through also the process of reconciliation, letting us know that Republicans should not be calling for bipartisan support, he said, because he said they've done this in the past as well for things that were not supported by the American people. But he's saying that this is supported by the American people, so this is the time for them to use reconciliation to push through needed health help during this crisis time. Once again, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, but that's what we heard from Senator Bernie Sanders, who is going to be helping push through this reconciliation $1.9 trillion stimulus package. And as you guys know, as more information rolls out, I'll be sure to keep you up to date here on the channel. And once again, if you made it this far and you haven't already, be sure to smash the like button. I would appreciate it. It helps out the channel. And if you're not already part of the Ram fam, be sure to smash the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so that way as soon as I upload, you can get notified. And be sure to follow me on Instagram as well at SteveRam3. Well, you guys, I hope this reaches you well. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.